Hey, and welcome to my hopefully short guide on how to get yourself your very own fishing skiff or fishing boat in Guild Wars 2. Either of those names work. So, pretty much, in order to get your own fishing boat, you will need the newest Guild Wars 2 expansion, End of Dragons, and you will need to get to the new map called Cantha. There is no other way around it. There's no other way to go about it. If you do not own the new Guild Wars 2 expansion already, you'll probably have to either win it through some kind of competition hosted by ReadingNet, get a friend to buy it for you, get it for your birthday, or buy it yourself. Now that that's out of the way, because that was probably pretty self-explanatory, I can now go over the 3 ways you actually can get to Cantha. The first 2 ways I'm going to go over are basically unlimited teleport to a friend stone and a teleport to a friend stone. So we're just going to put a short little cut in here, and I'm going to get back to you when I've got 2 wiki pages open so we can kind of go between them, and I'll explain what both of those teleporting items are if you don't know already. If you do know, there'll be a timestamp in the playback bar of this video so you can skip ahead to the actual part where we go there the normal way by completing the story. So here we are, over to the wiki. Here we are on the wiki like I said I'd be. This is the item right here that I'm talking about, the teleport to a friend stone. I'm actually just going to click this little symbol here, and now I'm going to zoom in on it with my editing program so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Like this thing here, pretty much this is the icon you're looking for in your inventory, and then pretty much how you use it is that once you have them in your inventory, you will then need one of your friends to be in a party with you. That's pretty self-explanatory. They will then need to be in a location in Cantha somewhere, and then you will double click on this item, a list will pop up, and then you will choose that your friend from that list, and then click accept, and it will teleport you to whatever location they are at, including Cantha. It can work for going to Cantha, which is why I'm obviously talking about this, and then it will use up one of these, because these are limited. Each of these can only be used once. Another way you can also get this similar thing is the recharging teleport to friend, an endless version. And we're going to click on it right here because I already have it open in another wiki tab. This thing is currently unavailable, so you can't buy it on the gem store. But I'm listing it here in this video anyway because if you were to buy it later, it is very useful for getting to places like Cantha. This thing is its icon in the gem store, and there it is again. Costs 800 gems. Maybe a bit too pricey for you because that would generally translate to like each 100 gems is pretty much $1 American. So this would be about roughly $8. That may be too much for you depending on what you are like with pricing and everything and how much budget you can spare. That's what it costs. And how this works is that you can use it over and over again as much as you like. And, oh yeah, actually, it lists here, as of this 2019 update, it can only teleport characters over level 10, but you want to be level 80 to get to this place anyway, so I just don't even know why I already mentioned that. Oh, another important thing about this thing is that once you use it on a character, it applies this debuff, teleport recharging. This is so you can't use it constantly over and over and pretty much break the game with constant teleporting because this thing is unlimited. The developers don't want you to do that, or maybe it's just, I don't know, to make it not as good as the average teleport to a friend stone, so they actually have a use. Anyway, the important thing about this debuff is it's per character. Example, I was once on my ranger. I used this thing. The debuff was applied to them. Then I immediately sent this thing to another one of my characters by putting it in the bank, taking it out, and picking it up with another one of my characters, my warrior, and then I was able to use it again because this debuff is per character. So you can use it on 3 separate characters in quick succession, and they all have this debuff. Another important thing, this debuff will only tick down and allow you to use the item again when you're playing as that character. So if you're in the character select menu or logged out of the game, the debuff will not go away. Best to just wait. If you really want the debuff to go away quickly, just AFK and watch your YouTube videos for about like an hour or something. Right. So that is now all the teleport to a friend stones covered, how they work and how you can use them to get to Cantha. Now we're going to go back in game because I'm going to explain the other way, the most likely way you probably be getting there, and that's going there through the main story. So putting a quick cut in here. Okay, so here we are back in game again. Now, the main way you usually get to Cantha without using teleport to friend stones is if we go in here, this is the story journal. You want to click on End of Dragons, and if this is the first time doing it on your character, there'll only be a big glowing button like this one called Begin Story Chapter. You will play that, and then you will have to play through a section that you have to fight through that I covered in one of my previous videos, and also you will need to have access to Eye of the North, which is something you unlock with the Icebrute Saga. So you may actually need some story missions from the Icebrute Saga unlocked because you need to go to the Eye of the North first to talk to characters. I'm sorry, I really should have mentioned this earlier, but at least I'm mentioning it now. Where is the Eye of the North? Well, we bring up the map here, and then we click on this button here to take us to Central Tyria, and just zoom out a bit and scroll all the way up here. There is the Eye of the North, to hold the monuments. So if you don't have this place unlocked, you may unfortunately not be able to actually unlock this place and then go to Cantha. Now I'm going to put a cut in the video because I already previously covered the entire fight in another one of my videos. So if you've already watched that video, you can skip through this section. If not, I'm basically going to edit in the exact same fight I've done previously that I already recorded because there is no difference in this fight and you'll need to complete it in order to get to Cantha. So yeah, putting a quick cut in now, playing the fight, and I'll get back to you once it's over. Okay, we're back. Now that the talking that I mentioned before is done, the talking that you cannot fail, the next step is to head to Lornar's Pass, which isn't that hard to get to at all. It's just down here where the story says so. So even if you haven't unlocked Holbrak so far, and I'm not sure how this is even how that even really possible because you'd probably be playing the game enough to know where Holbrak is, you can just teleport to one of the waypoints over here, this quote-unquote waypoint, run over the way to Holbrak, and then it's just this, actually no, you do the way of Foothills, and then you do a huge loop all around, all the way to Lornar's Pass, and kind of come through here. Or, the better way actually is going to Lion's Arch to this place, and then you can kind of take a tunnel through here where you pop up right into the Durman Priory and you go over here. But we're just going to, in this case, take the waypoint that gets us closest to the this little pip here, and then we're just going to go over to it and activate this. So we are going over to, the story mission, pretty self-explanatory here, but on the way I guess I can mention that I recommend for this choosing a build you are quite comfortable with and that you know very well. For example, I have a warrior build I've been using for ages that's gotten me through a lot of content with a stat selection I like on my trinkets and also on my armor. It will generally help you defeat the enemies, but like I mentioned before, the enemies actually aren't that tough at all for this section compared to some other sections, such as the Path of Fire. The story missions there actually are, in my opinion, a lot tougher. Actually, never mind. I'm going to cut to the end of this because you don't need to see me run all the way there. He just talks with an NPC and the actual combat doesn't come until a little bit. Okay, here we are. The next part of the story may not actually be considered difficult because previously there were 3 basically bandits that appeared with technology heavy bandits. They appeared and I was able to defeat them. There were 3 normals and 1 veteran. You shouldn't have any trouble with them, which is exactly why I went and pretty much just skipped all that. So our next mission is to check inside this airship on this airship armada. We are here for story reasons. If you're trying to avoid spoilers, just try and ignore what everyone is saying and what they're doing and why we're here. Yeah, so these enemies here, as you can see, they like to usually group up and fight you, and I'm basically using the age-old tactic of backpedal so that it forces them all into single file, and then my area of effect attacks, such as this one here where I like fling my sword and a lot of fireballs come off it because I'm a berserker, that's the specialization I am right now, can hurt them all. Yeah, and now we just have to download the flight data from this command console. Pretty self-explanatory. Then the game will just, I guess, stun you for a minute, and then it'll immediately tell you that you have to get off this section of the ship onto the next section of the ship. By just, in this case, jumping down. And then, I guess from this one, you just have to jump to the next one. This may be a little harder if you have friends with you due to a bit of desync, like the last time I was playing this, I had a friend with me, and they went and basically, they were the party instance leader, so it felt a lot of times like I was experiencing a little bit of desync when fighting the enemies, like I wouldn't be able to jump off the airship that well. But if you're playing this solo, there should be little to no desync at all, unless I guess you have a laggy internet connection, because this game is online, it's an MMO, and yeah, you already know the rest. Yeah, so I've already played this part previously, so I know that very soon the game is going to ask you to use your special action key to jump from different ship to different ship, You may not know what that is, so I'm just going to quickly go into the controls and show you right here. If we just scroll down, I have it bound in here, if I can just find it, that I have my special action key set to P. So when I press P on the keyboard and P again, it's going to activate the special action key. If I get that special action, you can bind it to two separate keys, and you will need to do that because now the game is going to get these pirates over here to like start firing cannonballs at you. And what you want to do is press the special action key, then press it again, and you will use kind of like this leap ability to get all the way over to the other ship because you are using a special type of magic that is unique to the story for, again, story reasons. So I'm not going to spoil anything. And that there is why you want to bind the special action key to something. You can bind it to two keys at once. That's the wonderful thing about it. So if you wanted to, and it's easier for you to reach over to a certain key, you could bind it to P like I have, and then bind it again to, I guess, numpad 0 or something like that. Whatever you prefer. Yeah, and as you can see, it's not that easy to sometimes get on one of these things. It needs a little bit of aiming and stuff. It also is a little bit janky actually getting on the platforms sometimes. And they also, the pirates here, tend to shoot a lot of cannonballs at you from other platforms as well. That guy over there is shooting cannonballs at me, but I'm ignoring him. Yeah, and if you fail, the game is generous enough to actually teleport you up onto the next ship that you need to get to again for story reasons. It seems I actually jumped on the wrong ship, so I'm going to put a quick cut in here and get back to you when I'm onto the right thing. And I also just remembered you can actually run up this mast here to get extra height on the enemies and make it much easier to jump. And then it's just a case of jumping onto another ship. There are achievements here, by the way. One for killing all of these either blade or sky pirates, whatever I call them. And another, I think it's for not getting hit that much by enemy attacks while jumping from platform to platform. But it's actually really difficult for me to do that because I'm playing on a controller and I've bound it so that the special action key needs me to hold down one of the controller buttons, then hold it down again. So I'm actually right now reaching over to my keyboard and pressing the P key. Yeah, here there's just going to be some more dialogue, which we don't care about because we're just concentrating on getting through this as fast as possible. So in a situation like this, I'd recommend just getting up as high as possible. In this case, jumping on these boxes here, because more height means you have way more chances to jump on the enemy ship. Like so. And the best thing is, when you get really close to these cannon guys, they don't really have an option to fire the cannon at you, because it's too close range, and if they did, they'd have like a chance to blow up their own face. And this is also an excellent chance to use the cannon. So the cannon actually functions a lot like the special action key, where you aim it by, you aim it a lot like the special action key, where you just choose a spot on the floor, and then you fire it. And as you can see there, it was able to take basically half the health of this elite ether blade, which is excellent because you don't want to stick around trying to defeat her for too long, because she's elite. And that means she's tougher than the rest. Then here, there will be these electrical fields that will try and spawn and kill you, and you just want to kind of judge their movements like I'm doing now, and try and get hit by as little of them as possible, and your goal here is to smash 4 separate command consoles. As you can see, these things break really easy, because I'm only using my base attack, like my average little piddly sword swipe, and it is melting these things like butter. This is one more console to smash. And now here, I'm going to use one of my movement abilities as a warrior to jump myself forward with my sword. If you don't have one of these, don't worry about it, but just consider movement abilities when you're trying to break these consoles. Yeah, and now the game is actually showing you the next one of these things you have to jump on, so I'm just going to get as close to it as possible, aim my jump correctly, and this platform is apparently actually also trying to shoot the ship down. Because I'm on the ship and they want to blow up the ship because I'm a high value target and a big threat. Yeah, and then here's kind of another, I guess what you could say, non-cutscene. Oh, that's the one you meant to jump down. You meant to just jump down to this platform, actually. Yeah, for story reasons, you also suffer no fall damage on this part, which is nice. Yeah, and there's apparently I didn't get the achievement because I got hit by too many electric fields. I'd need to come up with probably a different control setup to actually use the special action key easier so I don't have to reach over on my keyboard I was trying to get the achievements. But don't worry about that, because the first time doing this, you're probably not trying to get the achievements. You're probably just trying to survive all this and get through it. Yep, Ether Blade's defeated, and then you just access this command console to reposition the ship for, again, story reasons. And in here, we use the same tactic I used before, where you just run all the way up here, and then you can use the special action key to jump onto the next ship, which is where you need to go, because the controls up here is what you're trying to access. Yeah, and now here, these Ether Blade might try and shoot you, but this is another reason why I was saying bring a ranged weapon, so you can defeat these Ether Blade at ranged, and yeah, so you can avoid their cannon fire a little bit. You're meant to access the controls, so I'm going to attempt to activate the controls here and reposition everything while this Ether Blade is shooting me, because I bet, yeah, I got the bar to fill up before that guy over there with the cannon could kill me. Oh, and apparently we're just flying away from him now. We're taking the ship into unknown territory and kind of just leaving him behind the dust. I'm pretty sure... Oh, okay, maybe I was wrong. This isn't actually at the end of the mission. We're just flying in front of some more of these platforms. Again, there's a veteran cannoneer here. And this one, by the look of it, yeah, they can actually attempt to knock you off the platform. And another thing they're also capable of doing, by the look of it, is, oh, they also had, like, a brake bar that you can't really remove. So you may be getting shot at a lot here, but luckily, you can use the cannons against them and just kind of just kill them instantly. There, I missed my chance, so we're just going to wait for the platform to go back down again. Any moment now. Even though we're getting shot at, I have, like, lots of health. So, I'm pretty sure that, even if you... Oh... That was really, really wonky. Yep, now that we're on the correct platform, you can just use the cannon on the platform to kill the enemies ahead of you if you want, after killing that one Ether Blade, and then just use your jump ability again. Yeah, so here we are, finally on the next ship. I cut out a lot of me just failing because for some reason that jump was the hardest thing to make. It was like there was a bunch of desync or something happening, which just felt like it made it almost impossible to actually do the jump correctly. And then, pretty much, there'll be a new island ahead of you for reasons not going to explain where this is, but then afterwards, you're going to access the controls again to reposition this ship, and then, oops, you done the, you made the ship go a little too fast. The story just has to happen like this, and you end up basically crashing into the island. I know because I've played this as a part of the story before. So after that you crash into the island, there'll be a short cutscene of this dude randomly coming across your character and waking them up. Okay, my bad. So what ended up actually happened there was after repositioning the second ship, the game didn't really give you any indication for this. I just ended up figuring out myself by jumping down. But that was the ship we were on previously. You're apparently meant to jump off, land in this ship, and then rescue Gw2, the Zero with the glasses. So we're going to do that now. Especially since the game is pretty much like telling us, hey, dum-dum, there is like a little green marker on your map saying, go rescue this guy, go do it. In order to progress the story. Yeah, so just a few more Ether Blades there, pretty much easy to defeat. 2 more of them next to him tied up, and he's just yelling something because he's under distress because he's tied up. I mean, that makes sense. Pretty much any character in the story would do that. Yeah, so then we cut him free, and we should be crashing into the mainland any moment now, like I mentioned before. Yep, your character says got to get off the ship because it's like not flying correctly or something. Yeah, and this is kind of what I was talking about before. An excellent reason to get off the ship. It's all flaming and exploding. Yeah, so here you actually have to just sit here and don't really do anything, because if you walk forward, as you've seen before, the game just catches you on fire, because apparently the ship is meant to be burning up to the front end of it, even though it doesn't look like it's burning. Yeah, you can see there, it works like command, I think we're going down, and then you get knocked to the floor, and then this entire screen goes white, and you suffer heaps of stacks of burning damage. Yeah, and then here is like the start of the cutscene I was talking about before. It is black at first because your character is actually meant to be unconscious. That is part of the game, that wasn't a glitch. And there you can see him, my character Elvin, unconscious on the beach, with the head tilted back, and you can see the underside of his charred neck, which looks really weird here because I don't think characters are meant to stretch that way. And here's the dude who comes and rescues you. Apparently there's also no skip button here, so I'm just going to cut ahead until we get to the next part. Oh, because it's happening already. But I cut through this loading screen. Like I'll skip past this because you don't need to see it. Okay, here we are in the cell, like I mentioned before. So what ended up happening pretty much was there was a montage of multiple days passing, and then you're put right here, and you can kind of interact with a whole bunch of things. But what we want to do is just... Oh, apparently there is a way you can break yourself out of this cell. So I guess you can just attempt to try everything. In this case, I'm going to just grab a large rock and see if I can break down the cell door. Apparently not. Yeah, but don't worry, even if you can't figure out how to actually... even if you can't figure out how to actually go and get yourself out of this... out of the cell, the guards will come for you soon enough and then help you out. So my logic here was apparently I've got a stick now, and now I can't apparently use the stick to wedge myself out of there, but maybe there is a way to, well, yeah. So now I've went and just used this stick on the, Oh, I think I know what you have to do. So you have to put the stick, break the rock, use the rock to break the bench, then get the stick and get the, oh. Apparently I was just too, I just wasted enough time that this guy lets you out of your cell, but I think I was almost ready to actually let myself out, because what I done there was pretty much, I used the rock to break the bench, to get the piece of wood, to then stick it into the food where it already dried, and then I used that to get the key, and was almost ready to use the key to unlock it, and then, like, as I had the key in my hand, this guy comes along, and I guess my character hides it, and, like, shoves it in, I don't know, shoves it to the side of the room or something, or puts it in their pocket, if these prisoner clothes have any pockets. Yeah, so now, you're pretty much going to get your gear back from this guy called, well, he was called Big Hatted Man before he revealed his name, and I'm going to skip to the part where this mission is finished, because then it will allow you to actually exit into the actual open world of Cantha, and there you will be able to walk around freely instead of being stuck in a story mission like this. Okay, so now that you've watched the footage of that airship fight and you know how to beat it, and then you're actually in Cantha, it is now time to actually get on our skimmer here and go over to the place where you actually unlock your skiff. So what you want to do is pretty much fly right over all these buildings here. If you don't have a skimmer, then just pretty much run down all these paths here, jump in the water, and start swimming. This place is perfectly accessible to get to if you have a character without any mounts whatsoever, like the skimmer, because you can just swim all the way to where I'm going. So what you want to do is, like, as you can see, we're going along the map here, and we're pretty much making our way down this large river here, while hopefully not crashing into anything on the side, like I think I just did there. Yeah, so you pretty much keep heading down this river, and we are now looking for a monastery. A monastery where you can complete a heart. A heart, if you didn't know already, is pretty much a sometimes repeatable, sometimes non-repeatable quest in other games like World of Warcraft. And instead of going there and going to some NPC with an exclamation mark above their head, and asking them, like, hey, how can we help out around here? You just do the stuff to help out. So, now that we are here, the heart is immediately activated. Hold on, something's attacking me. I just need to go back into the water. And you can see what you must do here. So you can assist the locals by repairing boats, rescuing villages, cleaning debris up, and beating up riffraff. So the way you clear debris up is pretty much you go over to one of these boats here, and this is the way where you repair a boat. You pretty much go up to it, you press fix, and then it'll do this Simon Says puzzle. So it'll be like, as you can see there, red, yellow, blue, and it will pop up here with a bunch of things that you can now press. So that was red. Oh, apparently I got that completely wrong. So let me try again. Apparently I'm terrible at things. Okay, red, blue, yellow. Yeah, and now it says you have helped the locals. It'll increase this bar by a tiny bit, and you actually get control over the skiff. So once you have a skiff of your own, this is pretty much how you control it. It pretty much functions like a normal movement ability, where you just use the where you just use a mouse pretty much to move the screen around, or W and D if you aren't using your mouse to turn, and you pretty much turn like that. S is go backwards, W is go forwards, and you can also enable action cam like I have now, and kind of steer it as if it was a third-person action game with the boat. Then your number 1 and 2 keys control the boat speed. So number 1 is a nice, real slow cruising speed, and number 2 is let's get this thing going and actually start going a lot faster. Then once you're on the boat, you can press the 0 key to drop anchor, and then it will function as a physical object which you can then climb on. Let me just slow down and I'll actually show you right here to show you what I mean. We're just going to slow down to like no speed at all, press 0, and then we've dropped anchor and can actually run around on it. If you don't drop anchor, then you can't run around in the boat and you will just phase through it. So we're going to board the boat again, and yeah, pretty much you drive around this boat and you interact with locals like that one there to apparently help them out of the water. And then also, as you could probably see earlier in the video, there was a bit of debris on the land there. Like, oh, in fact, apparently there was some too. I just hit it and didn't even notice. That will increase your bar, your heart bar, and get this close to being completed. However, we're going to just dismount the boat here, even though we're in the water, because the fastest way of actually completing this heart. Okay, so here we are, and the heart is now completed. I'm going to put a little, well, maybe, I don't know if you call it a disclaimer or not. Pretty much what ended up happening is I figured out while doing the heart that apparently I was wrong. You shouldn't go and beat up the ether blades. That's not the quickest way to do it. The quickest way to actually do the heart is to fix boats, rescue people underwater, and hit debris. I swear that it was beating up ether blades previously, but now it's not, because apparently one of the patches that were just recently rolled in actually changed it, because I can swear, basically based on how much the heart was filling up, that hitting debris in the water and rescuing people and fixing boats is definitely the way to go. Anyway, once you have done that, this heart will then complete, which is also a repeatable heart, by the way. So when you come back here, you can complete it again. And then once you go in here, you can then go and do this thing. And I can't buy it here, but there is an option to buy a skiff that you can use, and it'll be yours forever, with a bunch of writs of Seitung province. These are really easy to get, because you can get one for completing the story you have to do to get here, and then on top of that, just doing events and stuff here will also get you them. They work a lot like casino coins in Amnunian if you ever use them. Pretty much you can double click on them to add 5 Imperial favors to your wallet, which is kind of like a currency of this entire map. But you don't need to do that, because you can purchase the skiff with just plain old writs of Seitung province, and also around about like 1,000 karma, and that is like dirt cheap. You can get so much karma in so many different ways. In fact, at some point I'll have a video released on how to actually get karma if you want to know that. Anyway, once you buy the skiff, it is then fully yours. You're able to drive it around as much as you want using the controls I outlined before. I'm going to show you one other quick thing before I end this guide, because it is pretty much all done, except for the neat little fact that if we go into dyes here and then click on your boat, you can then dye your boat a single color. So at the start it looks like kind of all, well, as you can see, like this, kind of all nice and brown. But if we wanted to pick for some not for some reason, but if we wanted to pick like some nice looking blue color, like I'm pretty sure, yeah, I've got some electro blue. Doesn't look quite good, but okay, yeah, sky blue, it looks nice. I usually like to have my boat quite kind of blue looking, and as you can see, it is now painted. I know it doesn't look that good, and unfortunately the only way you can really actually go and get a different looking skin for your skiff is actually not available anymore. If we go into skiffs here, yeah, you can then if you pre-order the Guild Wars 2 expansion, like the Ender Dragon expansion, then you can get the Shining Jade Boat skin for your skiff. And I have it because I have done that, but there's unfortunately no real way to get it. But if you want my honest opinion, I actually really like the original skiff skin. Yes, it may look kind of shitty and wooden, but in my opinion, that gives it much more charm. I like both as a heap. My fancy, flashy skin does look kind of good, but I'm got a feeling at some point I'll get sick of the garishness and actually skip back and actually go back to the original skiff skin because I enjoy it so much. Yeah, and there you have it. Anyway, that's the guide over. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was nice and quick. Hope you learned something, and thanks for watching.